Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here again. We have done it for a second week in a row. It is your review of the week. So we have got a couple of news articles, bits that have gone on from the world of sport, and of course your property stats, which are at the end. So please do watch to the end. Like to get your comments on last week's if you watched it. I know it was a bit of a long one, but wanted to kind of catch up with where we are in terms of the property market versus last year, which we've done. So this week it only should hopefully be no longer than 10 minutes, I would hope, because we're only covering off the last 7 days property stats for Stafford. So let's get into it. And I suppose the big news story from the week that's caused so much backlash, so much turmoil on TV and bits and pieces over the weekend is the Gary Lineker versus BBC, if you like, debacle that's gone on over a tweet that he put out surrounding the immigration policy that the government are putting in place. Obviously, Match of the Day, they kind of made him step down from Match of the Day. Then all the other presenters and pundits followed suit in solidarity. So Match of the Day was, I didn't even watch it personally this weekend, but it was a 20-minute slot this time. But it seems now that they're turning a corner. It looks like they're getting back on track. I think they're going to try and get him back into place within the next 24 hours. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens from that. But yeah, what an absolute wow! It's turned the country upside down. I mean, I saw on local news recently, last night when I was in bed, I think it was, that there was a local rally regarding this whole situation, and the people stood there in the town centre were, making the Match of the Day theme tune, and it's just absolute craziness, if I'm honest. But moving swiftly on, but staying on the subject of sport, Scotty Scheffler won the Players last night. That was all finished off. He finished 5 shots ahead of anybody else, so fair play. And he says he's going to try and continue in the same sort of form and push on to the next thing and take himself to that next level. We have to mention the rugby. We had an event that we went to, the Stafford Gang Show post-show party. Was at Stafford Rugby Club. I managed to make it for kind of the last 5-10 minutes of the rugby there, and what a shambles the rugby was. So if you don't know, where have you been? But it was England versus France, and France absolutely battered England, and it ended up being 53-10 to the French. So fair play to them. But what an absolute shower of the proverbial from England. Cheltenham Festival, if you're into the horses and that kind of stuff, starts this week. So that's if you are into that sort of thing, then that is starting. I think they normally start Tuesday on that. So you've got that to look forward to. F1 is back this weekend with the Saudi Grand Prix. I think it's this weekend, which is really good. And we have to mention the Premier League, which Arsenal are now 5 points clear. I'm a neutral in this instance. I'm a Villa fan, so it doesn't really make any odds to me. But yeah, it'd be nice to see somebody else do it. Can they do it? Or do we think Man City's going to pip them at the post? Love to hear your thoughts on that as well, whether you're an Arsenal fan or Man City fan or Man United. We won't talk about that match from last week. Okay, and moving on to news stories. I've got to revert back to an article I mentioned last week, and that was regarding the Matterhorn and Toblerone. Mentioned it to somebody else. In fact, I mentioned it to Ronnie. And we were discussing it in the car and how they're getting rid of the Matterhorn image from their design, from their advertising, their branding. And he turned around and went, "What about the bear?" And I was like, "Bear? What do you mean bear?" And we had the conversation in the car. And he showed me, I'm going to show you now, in the mountain in the graphic for the mountain that there is actually a bear within the design. Bizarre. And I was like, yeah, it's probably just internet images. So we went to Tesco's, we picked up a Toblerone off the shelf, and lo and behold, the bear is there for all to see. Let's just have a look. Toblerone. Sorry about this. Images. Right. Okay. So, if you can see it there, you will now never ever be able to unsee that bear. So yeah, I wonder what the bear's for, and whether the bear will stay as part of something else. But yeah, check that out yourself. Moving swiftly on, it was the Oscars last night, and one success story that I wanted to focus on because being a child of the 80s myself, this actually is quite a sensational comeback, really. But there was an actor who was a child star of the 80s, featured alongside Harrison Ford in The Temple of Doom, and also starred as Data from The Goonies. What an absolute legend, what two great films, and what a star he was. Hollywood kind of threw him out, well, not threw him out, but he kind of got lost his way through Hollywood, forgotten about, if you like. Decided at the age of 50 he was going to try and make a comeback, and for the film Everything Everywhere All at Once, which apparently cleaned up at the Oscars last night, won an Oscar. So what an absolute brilliant story that is. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, but I think it's Ke Huy Quan. So yeah, fair play to him, and go and check that out. And if you remember Data from The Goonies, or what's his name in Temple of Doom? I've got to know what this is now. It's Short Round. That's it, Short Round. So yeah, go and have a look at that. What an absolute brilliant story that is. So yeah, and actually I am going to have to try and see what this Everything Everywhere All at Once is, because apparently they cleaned up last night. Other people like Brendan Fraser, I believe, was in it. So yeah, I'll be checking that out. Next up is Juniper. We've got 2 minutes, got to be quick. The killer cat in Australia. So apparently Australia has an issue with predatory cats, house cats, that people are keeping as pets, and around 7, each one of these cats that they have are killing on average 790 animals in the wild each year, and the authorities in Australia are looking at putting in cat-free areas, or cat curfews, trying to keep people to keep their cats home. Absolutely crazy story, but go and have a look, have a read of that. It's absolutely bonkers, if I'm honest. Then, all you lovers out there, Valentine's Day. But Valentine's Day 2046 is a special one, because apparently there is going to be an asteroid that has a 1 in 560 chance of crashing into Earth. So they have an impact scale, and it rates from 0 to 10. 10 being like, oh my god, it's going to hit tomorrow, and obviously 0 being the lowest. It's, no chance of it hitting. This is level 1, so they're not too concerned about it, but there's a 1 in 560 chance that it could. It's the size of an Olympic-sized swimming pool, so if you are thinking of popping that question on Valentine's Day 2046, don't put it off, do it earlier. The snow, it came, it went, it caused chaos, as it always does. So we are expecting some more towards the end of the month, so we'll see what happens there. We have got our conference at the end of the month, so hopefully we can still get to that anyway. Now, sushi terror. So apparently there has been a spate of videos that have gone viral in Japan of people doing pranks on the sushi conveyor belts, similar to what you'd see at Yo Sushi or something like that. Obviously they're quite prevalent in Japan. So somebody got caught doing, or not caught, but somebody's video went viral, and Japanese police have made 3 arrests based on these videos of these pranks. And it's things like people licking soy sauce bottles or poking the food as it's going round. So, and they're referring to it as sushi terror. So absolutely bizarre. And the next thing I want to just quickly pick up on, we're at 10 minutes already. Red tide apparently is back. And red tide is a destructive algae that is prevalent in Texas and Florida, and it's been around. It's a phenomenon that's been around since the 1800s, but this time it's appeared earlier than it would normally. They normally have a season for it, and this time it's back earlier, and the concentration of it is higher than normal, and it doesn't only affect marine life, because it really does affect marine life. It can also cause harm to human health, so that's through, what does that say? So cause breathing problems, skin irritations, but also because it's going into the marine life, if you're eating things like oysters and that kind of thing from where this algae is, then it can obviously cause food poisoning. So, and it's called red tide because as the wash goes back, you can see it all coming. It's like a reddish brown colour. So yeah, that's quite a crazy one. And they reckon that it's becoming more and more, and the concentration levels are higher, and it's back earlier because of climate change. And then finally, a man from Sussex who lives barefoot, has done since 2013, lost his wife back in 2013. Since then has been had this life-changing moment, so has turned his focus to running 20 marathons barefoot, and he's recently completed a half marathon. But that's not the story. The story is he went into McDonald's to order some food, and they tried to kick him out, or kicked him out. And he was like, well, what are you kicking me out for? And apparently their line was, no shoes, no shirt, no service. Obviously he complained to McDonald's head office, who didn't really do anything because it's a franchise, and each franchise runs their business how they want, effectively, within certain parameters and guidelines. But yeah, kicked him out for not wearing any shoes, even though he was sat near to where a children's play area was, where there was children with no shoes on. So the mind boggles. So yeah, absolutely crazy. Anyway, let's move on to the property stats of Stafford. So the last 7 days in ST16, we have seen 19 new instructions come to the market. We have seen 11 properties marked as sold, subject to contract or under offer, and only 4 price reductions this week, which is brilliant. It shows that the market's coming back a little bit, and we are coming into that springtime where it will hopefully become a little bit busier for you people that are on no market and more stock available for you that are looking to buy. The most expensive house that sold last week was a 3-bed detached at 300,000 on the Eccleshall Road, and that was sold by Bridgefords. And ST17, we saw 16 new instructions, 14 sold subject to contract or under offer, and 6 price reductions in your ST17 area. The most expensive house that was sold last week was a 4-bed detached property on Oldcroft Road, and that was, it's an amazing property, if I'm honest. I absolutely love it, and that was sold by John German. Now ST18 saw 5 new instructions, 8 sold subject to contract or under offer, and only 2 price reductions in ST18. Most expensive house that was sold last week was a 4-bed semi-detached property on Stow Lane. That's Stow by Chartley, just on the very edge of the little village of Hickson. And that was sold by Durish and Day for a staggering £447,000. So that's your review of the week. And I just wanted to say a massive well done to all those that did the Stafford half yesterday. It was a Stafford half marathon. So well done to all those that took part and completed, or even just took part in it, if I'm honest, and the fun run itself, and also to Jojo's for being the main sponsor. So the fish and chip bar that is, or fish and chip shop that is in Weeping Cross, they were the main sponsor of it this year. So well done to them, and yeah, enjoy your week.